What's up and welcome to my comparison between the Scar 15 and 17 versus the Strix G15 and G17. Now, no reviewer has been able to get their hands on all of the different variants of these machines, but I've got my hands on the Scar 15 RTX 3080 version and the Strix G17 RTX 3070 version. Let's go ahead and take a look at the specs of these two machines. First of all, you can see that we have a Ryzen 9 5900HX in both of these machines. Now, these have very similar TDP limits and very similar levels of performance, both in single core and multi-core performance. Now in the Strix G17 we had an RTX 3070 and an RTX 3080 in the Scar 15. So what this means is if you have an RTX 3070 in either laptop, the Strix G15, G17, Scar 15 or Scar 17, you should expect very similar GPU performance across the entire lineup. Now the RTX 3080 is only available in the Scar series, so if you want the most performance, you'll have to shell out the extra dollars and buy the premium features as well. Now for our displays, we have a 165Hz QHD display, and in the Strix G17, we had a 300Hz Full HD display. Now the Strix display was a little bit brighter, but had lower overall color gamut. Now when it comes to selecting the right display, I think the biggest thing here is going to be availability. People just really want to buy this laptop, and they'll just buy it with whatever screen they can get it with. That said, if you get the 17-inch version, I do recommend trying to get a QHD display if possible. If you're buying a 15-inch version of these laptops, I don't think the QHD is as necessary because you have to have really good eyesight to see the difference between the QHD and Full HD. But aside from the increased resolution, the increased color gamut also is massive. And whether you go with Full HD or QHD, the screens are extremely fast and responsive, making them great for esports in either case. But of course, getting a 300 or 360 Hz display will give you an edge in certain titles that can actually push those frame rates, like in CSGO or Overwatch and stuff like that. And both of these displays are absolutely excellent for all types of gaming and content creativity, but I would say the QHD display is a little better for content creation because of the increased color gamut and resolution as well. Now for battery life, I got a little bit better on the Strix G17. I believe it's because of the Full HD display. That said, the processor in my Scar 15 never really settled down, so the battery life on the Scar 15 may improve with a firmware update. Now both of these come with a 1TB PCIe SSD, Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.1, and they have very similar levels of thickness, but the Scar 15 being a 15-inch laptop weighs about 1 pound less. And this is very similar weights and sizes between the 17-inch and 15-inch versions. Now in the Strix lineup, we only have 16 gigs of RAM versus the 32 gigs of RAM in the Scar 15. Now in the past, I didn't realize that this would actually cause a performance difference, and let me explain. Now both sets of RAM are 3200 MHz DDR4, but the 32 gig of RAM has RAM on both sides of the RAM module, allowing it to be dual rank. And this can really improve performance in certain games like Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I'm going to be doing a full memory breakdown and comparison between 16, 32, and 64 gigs. So if you want to see how those different memory sizes can affect performance, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. So if you're interested in getting the upgraded dual rank memory, I'll have a link in the video description down below to memory that I know is compatible with these laptops. Now, one thing that you'll notice very quickly out of the box is the difference in speaker quality, and there's actually 3 different sets of speakers you can get depending on which model you get. Now, the cheapest version of the Strix G15 comes with just 2 1.5 watt speakers. I have not heard the quality of these speakers, but I'm sure they're a lot lower in quality and in total volume. Now the moment you step up to a certain price point, you get an upgrade for a per key individual backlit RGB. If you get to the lower one, you're looking at a 4-zone backlight on the RGB. So you're getting a downgrade in speaker quality and RGB on the keyboard, and you also get a much smaller battery at 56 watt hours versus 90 watt hours in all of the more expensive models, including the Scar series. Now the middle tier and up for the Strix G15 and 17 is going to come with 2 4-watt speakers, and these speakers sound very good in my opinion, above average for a gaming laptop speaker setup. But the Scar 15 and Scar 17 come with a total of 4 speakers, so you get 2 tweeters that add a lot to the clarity and overall volume of the laptop. So I would say that the Scar series is going to have noticeably more volume and clearer lows, mids, and highs for your speaker quality. Alright, now I've got both of them set to music mode, but for some reason the Strix G17 is not activating music mode even though it's showing it here. But let's go ahead and play the music and see what you think. And now for the Scar 15 with music mode enabled. Now when it comes to RGB implementation, the whole Strix lineup is just awesome. All the way from the baseline to the top. But there are a bunch of differences. So if you go with the cheapest end Strix G15 and G17, you just get a 4-zone RGB setup on the keyboard. That's not going to be nearly as awesome to set up and use, especially when you compare it to the music modes that you get on the more expensive Strix G15, 17, and Scar series. Now the RGB lights on the Scar series is still better in a number of ways. First of all, the keyboard backlight is noticeably brighter even when just side by side or just using the laptop. But we also have an RGB logo on the back that can be turned off or customized to whatever color. We also have an RGB strip directly under the display that causes reflections off of the keyboard, and it just looks awesome and adds a little more punch to the music mode. Now the logo on the back of the Strix G15 and 17 does light up, but it just turns white just using the screen backlight, so you can't turn it off if you don't want it on. So that's a downside if you're trying to turn this into a business-friendly laptop. Now, when it comes to keyboards, the Scar series has a big leg up. We have optomechanical keys on the Scar series. These provide excellent key travel and depth, as well as a nice little shunk click every time you press the key. Now, the optical mechanical keyboard is also supposed to be more responsive, but let's be honest, it's probably not going to ever be something that you'll notice in day-to-day use. Now, something you will notice is the key layout. On the 17-inch versions of these laptops, you have a completely different numpad layout for the Scar and Strix G17 series. I haven't tried the Scar 17 series keyboard layout. It does look very interesting and innovative though. That said, I do really like the Strix G17 numpad layout. It works really well and has tons of functionality. Now, when it comes to the 15-inch series, the Scar 15 does have a leg up over the Strix G15 because the touchpad can double as a number pad. So if you really need a number pad in a 15-inch sized chassis, this is a great option without having to make the whole keyboard much more cramped to be able to fit it in. Now, as far as the touchpad goes between the Strix and the Scar series, I could not really tell much of a difference aside from the number pad being available on the Scar 15 series. Now, the chassis build quality is very good on the Strix G17 and the Scar 15 I have. Very little overall chassis flex, but there is some. So if you're looking for something with better build quality, I would recommend something like the GE66, the Razer Blade lineup, or the Aorus 17G. All of those laptops are built like a super tank because they're all metal chassis. Now, both versions of these laptops have a metal top lid to the display, adding a nice hard layer to prevent damage to the laptop. Now, the keyboard deck and the under part of the laptop are made from this like really nice material that I actually really like. It's very smooth and it seems like it's going to be pretty durable, but only time will tell really how durable it is. Now, the Scar series does feature a translucent keyboard deck, allowing you to see inside the laptop along the right side. This is just a nice little accent, nothing really that special. Now, on the Scar series, you can customize which color of corner plate you want. It comes with 3 versions, so depending on what you want, you can switch it out on the fly if you're going into a business meeting or something. I don't know. I'm just gonna leave the silver one on there. I think it looks great. And if you decide to go with a Strix G series, you can choose the different colors you want for that piece, but you're not going to be able to change it after you get the laptop. Now, another feature that some of you will use out there is the Keystone. This allows you to use a shadow drive, which is an encrypted drive only available when the Keystone is plugged in or when you activate it with a password. When we take a look at the thermal pipes between the Scar and Strix series, we see that they're almost identically laid out in almost every single way. And this is between a 15-inch and a 17-inch chassis. And honestly, I don't really mind this because the heat pipe layout here is so good. That said, the 17-inch version does feature elongated heat pipes, and I think this is one of the reasons why the 17-inch version does have better overall temperatures compared to the Scar 15 that I tested in my stress test. Now, there is a blend of different versions of these laptops. If you want to know exactly what comes on each one, I'll have a link to the tech specs page for all 4 of these laptops in the video description down below. And you'll want to look at the specific number model on the listing you want to buy and compare it to the tech specs listing for that exact part number. So that's all the major differences I could find between these two series. There's surprisingly a lot more than you would think just based on the specs and on paper. What do you guys think about this? Is it worth going with a Scar series laptop versus the Strix G15 and G17? I don't know. I think it's a $400 difference for the same level of specs. May actually be worth it. Overall, would I pick the Strix G series or the Scar series? Well, I personally chose the Scar series because of those extra premium features. But if you're on a budget, I think it's totally fine skipping the Scar series and just going with the Strix G series. It's still a great laptop and has all the core features that you need for the best performance possible, aside from maybe the memory upgrades. I just wanted to thank everyone for all your awesome support lately. It's been really great seeing the channel grow. And for all of you that are new to my channel, thanks for stopping by and checking out my videos, and I hope to see you in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. I will see you in the next one. Brandon out. Huzzah. Why do I say huzzah? I don't know. It's just something I've done, and it's just a thing now. So, huzzah. Yeah. Cool.